Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time, you are highly welcome. One of the most difficult relationships I know, or that doesn't really seem to work out, is a relationship between a father and a son. Not that it doesn't work out, but I mean this closeness, like where they are really close, get to communicate well, get to talk well, get to share things. So I've observed, and my result, I've not seen a father and a son bond so well that they are like brothers. It doesn't mean it does not exist. It does exist, but most sons and their fathers, they are not anywhere, like they are not anything close. So in our previous video, we talked about a mother and a daughter relationship. Now the vice versa, there is also a father and a son relationship. Okay, so in this relationship, it's more like what a mother can do for a daughter, a father can do for a son. In as much as sons and their mothers, they roll well, but you won't compare a male figure and another male figure. Okay, so the information and like it's conveyed better when a guy and a guy, when they get to talk and communicate, you understand? So it's way easier if a father and a son are talking, because most times when women talk, you be like, okay, she has said it, she's a woman, she has said what women can actually think in a situation like this. When a father talks to the son, get about a particular thing, yeah, he'd be like man to man, he understands, and probably he has been there. Okay, so most times fathers don't have this relationship with their sons. More like everybody, or is your case, on your own, be on your own. I've given birth to you, you are meant to grow on your own, make decisions by yourself. Why they are forgetting that you are a father not because you are just meant to provide money for the family or provide food, clothing, and all other things. I mean, there is more to being a father. Both your son's spiritual life, the way your son sees the world, the way he handles situations, the way he does the things that he does in life. It all depends on your relationship with your son. Most times we feel it's the responsibility of our wives to take care of our children, both the son and both the daughter. But then we have a very important role to play in the lives of our son. I'm talking to fathers now, or people that are yet to get married, because most times whatever we learn from our parents, we tend to carry it over to our family if we do not take care. So a father takes responsibility of the son, because from almost everything that you do, your son learns from you. Both the way you act, both the way you respond to people, both the way you talk to your wife, both the way you get, most things that you do, your son learns from you. So if you have not been conscious of that, from today I want you to be conscious of it, because all your actions, children learn very fast, and they learn better with people they stay with the most. In the male figure, you are the closest to him before you start counting others. So whatever he sees you do at home, he spends more time with you at home. He sees you often, so that is what he's likely to do. So we are going to be talking about a father and a son. What are the things you can do for your son? What are the roles you can play in his life? It will also help enhance the relationship you have with your son. It's nothing like, I know guys like to be, you like to have your space, you like to make your own decisions, you like to do your own thing, give yourself space and all that. But when your child is still growing, from a tender age, any impact you want to make is from that tender age, where he doesn't know anything. He looks up to you for almost every single thing that he does, both what he wears, both what he says, both the actions he takes. You understand? Sometimes they do something and they look at you to know what you will do or what you say. Or even sometimes they go out and they come back, they know you must say something. Why? Because they believe you play a crucial role in their lives. So here are the few things that you can do, yes, to ensure that your son turns out fine. It's good you play your part well, so that even if we don't pray that anything goes wrong, but even if you are self-satisfied that you have played the role you're supposed to play as a father in the person's life, okay? So first of all, you should note that whatever character your child exhibits, whatever character, when the person has grown or even when the person is growing, most of them, if you trace them back, they can be traced back to you. The way you behave, the way you talk to people, the way you respond, the way you just do stuff. So whether you like it or not, you play a major part in the growth and development of your child. So when you are always with your child, you should have it in your subconscious that this child is looking up to me. It doesn't mean you should fake your living, but you should always do the right thing whenever you are with your son. Don't think it's the responsibility of your wife. Your wife can also help the person, just to some limits. What are the things you can teach your son? What are the things that when you do, your child learns from them? One is respect for the women in his life. Mostly I've heard guys talk, and the way they see women as slaves. They see women as people that they are just helping out. They see women as people with probably no value. I've heard them talk, what are women are this, all those careless stuff. And if you trace it back, if you go to the person's house, the way you treat your wife, the way you respond to their mom, you care, the way you just do things around that guy goes a very, very long way in affecting how the person treats a girl. Most guys believe that it is the responsibility of the woman to do everything in the house, to cook, to clean, to do every single thing. So it's the sole responsibility of the man just to provide. And if you go back to the person's home, that is typically how the father will be behaving. Just go to work, come back, no help. Even if the mom is dying, it's the mom's responsibility. It's her job to always provide. But when you set an exemplary life, a good life, where you balance things for your son will see reasons to respect women. Respect not just in terms of handling a home, or in terms of the way you talk to your wife, even the way you take care of your wife. Sometimes most guys when they talk, they'll be like, I would like to be like my father. Why? Because the way he takes care of my mom. So all those things they learn from you. Yes, they learn very, very well from you. The way you take care of your wife, you understand, and everything, even the way you take care of your sister. The person looks up to you, and the person learns from you how to take care of a woman. When you're a type of man that you beat your wife, you abuse your wife, whether in front of the children or in front of anywhere, your son, if care, there are people that make this conscious decision. They know what their father is doing is not right, and then they make this decision. I will never be like my dad. I will never end up like my dad. But there are people that are copycats. Like whatever you do, person copies it like that, and the person doesn't care. So this is the right way. They expect whenever they are talking, everybody should keep quiet, especially women. Nobody, you don't have right. Whenever I'm there, because I'm the man, I have all those kind of mentality. So all those things, they are things they learn from you. If you treat women right, if you treat especially your wife, because that's the one they see very well. Your relationship with your wife, even a person's romance life will evolve in what, first of all, foundation of what the person is seeing. They say, okay, on her birthday, you do this for her. When you err, you apologize. When there is quarrel, you don't necessarily need to shout back because the woman is shouting. No matter what the woman does to you, you don't need to hit the woman. So all these things, they are little things they pick from what you do. You might not know it, you might not be conscious of it, but if you look at so many guys behaving now, their mindset is from the foundation they got from the house. Except, like I said earlier, people that make conscious efforts. When you know that something is wrong, will be like, no, I can never be like my father. I can never do the things that my father. I can never be like my father. I can never do the things that my father has been doing. Okay, so you affect the person. Also, in terms of money management, you can tell your son about yourself. One beautiful thing is that you can always use yourself as an example. Yes, you can always use yourself as an example. You've been through things in life. You've gone through things. You've gone through difficulties. You've made money. You've also lost money. So you'll be in a better position to tell your son, this is what happened. This is how you money. You tell your son about saving. Tell your son about investment. You tell your son about even spending. So the person will start early. I start apportioning his life. Okay, I'm meant to save. Yes, I'm meant to invest. I'm meant to do all these things. As if whatever starts early goes a long way in helping someone's life. You know, if you look at so many adults today, honestly, like they are struggling because they are doing nice, but they are struggling to live because nobody taught them that. Nobody told them this is what you should do. This is what you should not do. So they were confused. Not any fault of theirs, but they are trying to figure out their lives on their own, something that they've never been through before. So assuming as a father, you put your son through all these things, money management, saving and all that, the person will have a prior information. Okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do to live right. This is what I'm supposed to do to get better. You understand? So, but when you are just all on your own, God, like the child is left to figure out, okay, I have this, what should I do with it? I have this, and nobody is there to guide. It's always very, very, very difficult. Then you can teach your son about peer pressure. Peer pressure can make someone do so many, like you can do and undo because of peer pressure. After the act, your eyes might clear, but well, the deed has already been done. But as a father, you had friends, they pressured you. Did you do those things? Yes. What were the results? Were they satisfying? Did you not do it? What were the results? So what are the implications of following peer pressure wrongly, especially in doing the wrong thing? So what are the effects? What impact can it have to your life? How can it contribute to your life? These are the things you can tell your son. You talk to your son about money. You talk to your son about peer pressure. Yes, because some friends can make you do things that ordinarily you will not do. But when you let the person know as a father, don't wait for your wife. As a father, then you'll be able to expose that child and sensitize the child about certain things that happens in life. Also, don't fail to talk about relationship with your son. You know, like I said earlier about mothers and their daughters. Men too. You've experienced things. In fact, I think for that first time, I think that's the height of everything, because you do the chasing, you do the chiking, you talk, you get all those things. Like, it's been initiated from you. You let your son know when is the appropriate time. When am I even supposed to be thinking towards this direction? When am I supposed to, do all these things accordingly? You know that the person's life will be in order. It will be that when I was already in university, and a young boy, a small boy had the effrontery to come and check me, and I'm like, so what is the person learning from the father? These are people that don't have any foundation whatsoever. So they live on their own. They do what they see others. So now that is where the peer pressure comes in, because there's nobody to guide. They do what they like. But if the father had played the role, when I was at your age, these were the things I did. These are the things I did not do. So if father were to be present, at least he would help and lay some footsteps. You a guy, I'm a guy. So there's nothing you want to do that I've not done, or that even if I've not done it, that I've not heard of, or that I've not seen. So it makes it way lot easier. Yes, because so many little ones, so many people coming up, they are getting the wrong information every day by day. So if you're a father and you have a son, just note that if you're watching me right now, you have an important role to play in your son's life. Don't leave it for your wife. You're a guy, he's a guy. Whatever you know, let him know. Tell him about life. Tell him the implications of going in the wrong direction. Tell him how it pays to do the right thing. Everything should come from you. Your wife can help. Don't be a father. You know, there are fathers that whenever you are coming back, your children are running. Everybody is running inside. Why? Because daddy is back. The only relationship you have with your son is you come back, he comes to welcome you, he greets you, and then the person has zoomed off. Go to the bedroom, remain there till daddy finish watching television and goes to his room, or daddy finish eating and goes to his room. Sometimes deliberately eat with your children, eat with your son, talk with the person. If you have anything that happened during the day, talk, seek for their opinion. It makes them know they are growing. It makes them know, I'm in charge. Yes, I'm growing. At least I can talk with my father. I can exchange ideas with my father. It boosts the person's confidence. Don't be a father. Whenever your children hear the horn of their father, everybody pick race inside the house. You are not helping matters. You are not, because the distance will keep increasing, and then you cannot help it. The only thing you can do is you start managing it. And once you start managing something, forget it. Like, you keep managing until one person decides, and it will be difficult. Any love that you did not nurture on time, just check any word you did not nurture on time. It's it's hard to develop it. So if you start early with your child, if you are a man, it is not a crime if you are still best of friends with your son. Tell him, he comes to you to give you advice, so that you give him advice whenever he's faced with difficulty. He's sure, okay, I have my father. My father would help me. If you don't save, your son will likely be like you, because you don't save. So he might not bother to save. After all, my dad does not save, and everything still works out fine. And peradventure you had lived that bad life, you have made a lot of mistakes. When you have experiences, you are able to explain better to someone that have not been there. So it's actually still a point for you. Yes, we know you've made so many mistakes. We know you've not gotten it right, but you can get it right in the life of your son. The worst thing is allowing your son to repeat the mistake that you made. And how can you establish that? You can establish that by what? Being friends with your son. Communicate with your son. When you go for meetings, when you come back, on purpose, discuss about the things you feel he should know. Talk about it. Let him know. Let him learn. Let him ask you questions. You people, you are bonding by doing that. If you are watching football, you can watch football together. Not wherever they are watching football. Sometimes, I know the news is very important to you, but you can sit down and watch that football with your son, and both of you can get to rub minds together, shout all the goal you want to shout, all those things together. So, but when you are the type of father, like I said earlier, that at a tender age, your children learn to run from you. Whenever they hear the sound of your car, they just disappear, and you never see them again until you go to bed. The only person they feel comfortable with is their mom. Then you are on the wrong track, because it will affect that child. One, there is no male figure. You are present, but it's as good as you are absent. Because the only time you come in is when the mom now reports that he did something bad. Then you are now angry as to why he should do what he did. But it did not occur to you that you were never there. You did not even judge yourself. You were never there. You never even cared to ask. You never even bothered to know how far this child has been. And then fathers that end up, you compare your children to yourself when you are small. Some people will tell you that when they bring back their report card, their father will be like, when I was at your age, I take nothing less than the first position or the second position. Some people when we are discussing, will be like, I wish my father can bring his results so that we will see. You don't pressure your son to, in as much as you want them to do well, in as much as you want them to land well, in as much as you want them to do better. You don't go about telling all sorts of lies. So don't be a dad whose only relationship with the son is only when you want him to wash your car, or when you want him to wash your clothes or iron them. Develop a relationship with your son right from when they are small, because if if you're trying to do that when they've grown, the person has already carved out a comfortable space for himself, and you coming to force yourself into the space would really, really, really be hard. Really. So while you have your sons now, you can start now. Even if you've made the mistake, you can still just do something. There is just something you can do. But I want you to note that you have a crucial role to play in the life of your son, in the life of your sons. Yes, if you have more than one, don't expect your wife to do your job for you, thinking you're only there to provide money. That's a very wrong mentality to have. Yes, just converse with your son. Deliberately ask for his opinion on issues or matters. You get, just talk about relationship, about family, about handling things in life. It has a way of relieving stress for that child. It has a way of making that child know certain things even before they happen. If they eventually happen, be like, okay, my dad has told me this, so this is what I should do. I want you to know, very important, very, very important. However you treat your wife, however you start up with, and they are watching you, just know that he is taking note of it. Some guys are women beaters now because that was how they grew up. They saw their dad always manhandling their mom at every slightest thing, as though she was a slave to him, and then they transferred it. But then it took some people deliberate and conscious effort to overcome that. Not that it wasn't in their subconscious, but they just look, okay, this is right, even when they want to. They just be like, okay, I don't want to be like my father because it is wrong. But for some people, they can't just help it, it's just there. Some people inherited this act of riding on women from their father, because that is what the father has always done. Some people inherited the act of not being considerate from the father, or the way he feels about situations in the home. You are nonchalant, you don't care. You are careless, he becomes careless, he does not care. Don't always want to be part of your son's life when your son is going only through the smooth aspect of his life, even in the wrong, even in the worst moment of his life. Try to be there. Don't be a judgmental father. You are different and he's different. So he's bound to make mistakes. You are there to guide his steps. And there's this fulfillment that comes when you know that you've played your part in his life. And then you see your son, a replica of what you've taught him. Not really that you people, most times you have to disagree, because two persons cannot think alike. Like, you people have different opinions about different things. So it's obvious that sometimes you can agree, you can agree, and sometimes you can disagree. And it's okay, because he also has his own opinion. The last but not the least is the spiritual aspect of your life. Yes, the spiritual aspect of your life has a very long way to go in the life of your child. If you are not a spiritual person, your child will not be a spiritual person, at least for a start. Because whatever, you are the one taking them to church, you are the one teaching them it's good to read the Bible, it's good to pray, God is your father, you have to believe in him. But when all these things are missing, they cannot get it from anywhere. Even if they go out, they feel like, okay, this is not the way my father said, this is what you always hear, my father said. So if you develop the habit of taking your children to church, it's not even all about taking them to church, teaching them the core value, what it means to be a born again Christian, what it means to be a child of God. So the spiritual foundation of your children starts from your home. When they see you read the Bible, when they see you pray, when they see you fast, when they see you give, all these things are things they learn. It's just know that whatever they see you do, they try to do. So if you want to get the spiritual aspect of your son's life right, you start from when the person is small. Start early to develop a friendship with them. Know that as a father, you have a very important role to play in your son's life. Physically, spiritually, socially, everything. Try to participate as much as you can. Don't be a father whose son always runs away from him. Yes, he's scared to approach you because you are a very hard and mean person. You are Mr. Perfect. You must get it right. If you don't get it right, I don't have any business with you. Like that, you are making your son run away from you, and it doesn't help. And if you're a father and you know that you've done things that honestly, but if they ask you to score yourself, you did not live a good life, it is the opportunity you have now to make your son get it right. Let yourself be that example that he needs. Yes, let yourself, at least he's seeing it playing out in your life. I didn't do this, so this is where it has landed me, and he's seeing it. But if you don't communicate, if you do not talk, if you don't teach your child by your mistakes, your child is bound to repeat those mistakes, and you're now repeating two mistakes, because one, in your own life you've made the mistake, and it's repeating in your son's life. So to achieve, or to help your son achieve a good life, for a start early, participate in their life. Whatever you do, just know that your child is copying you. God has given you an assignment, and it's your responsibility to see that that child turns out well. Yes, most times some people misbehave, but at least try. And like at least try, and always put them in your prayers. Always pray for your son. Don't think because he's a man he knows it all. Most times they do not know it all. So thank you very much for joining me again today. So if you're a father and there are things you want to say, there are things you want to contribute, there are things that you can also do to enhance that your child, you play an important role in the life of the child, leave it for us in the comment section here, and we shall get back to you. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye.